In National Electrical Code, or NEC, Section 210.8 Bone addresses ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection in specific locations. All 125 volts single-phase, 15 amps and 20 amps receptacles installed in certain locations must be protected by a listed ground fault circuit interrupter. Those locations include bathrooms, garages, outdoor areas, crawl spaces, and finished basements, but only in new construction, kitchens, laundry areas, and wet bar sinks. Section 210.8b2 states that where a receptacle is installed in a wet location such as a bathroom or outdoors, it also requires GFCI protection. There are some additional exceptions to these rules. Firstly, receptacles that are part of a permanently installed appliance and are not readily accessible do not require GFCI protection. Secondly, receptacles that are located in a dedicated space used exclusively for medical equipment, and where it is certified that GFCI protection is not required for patient safety, are also exempt. Thirdly, receptacles that are not readily accessible and are used only for non-portable appliances that are mostly stationary or fixed in place, such as refrigerators, freezers, and ovens, also do not require GFCI protection. It is crucial to remember that local building codes might have additional requirements. Therefore, it's essential to consult with local authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations in your area regarding the use of GFCI outlets in residential hard floor installations and other locations. Ground fault circuit interrupters are designed to protect individuals from electrical shock. They work by monitoring the current flowing to and from an appliance or device. If there is an imbalance in the current, which could indicate a ground fault where electricity is leaking to ground, the GFCI quickly trips the circuit, cutting off the power. This happens in a fraction of a second, significantly reducing the risk of serious injury or electrocution. The NEC requirements for GFCI protection in specific locations are based on the increased risk of electrical shock in those areas. For example, bathrooms and kitchens often have water present, which increases the conductivity of electricity and the risk of shock. Outdoor areas are exposed to the elements, making them more susceptible to moisture and ground faults. Garages and unfinished basements may contain concrete floors and metal objects, which can also increase the risk of electrical shock. When installing or replacing receptacles in your home, it is important to carefully consider whether GFCI protection is required. If you are unsure, it is always best to err on the side of caution and install a GFCI outlet. You can purchase GFCI outlets at most hardware stores and home improvement centers. They are relatively easy to install, but if you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. It is also important to test GFCI outlets regularly to ensure that they are working properly. Most GFCI outlets have a test button that you can press to simulate a ground fault. When you press the test button, the outlet should trip and cut off the power. If the outlet does not trip, it needs to be replaced. In addition to GFCI outlets, you can also use GFCI circuit breakers to protect entire circuits. GFCI circuit breakers are installed in your electrical panel and provide the same level of protection as GFCI outlets. They are often used to protect circuits that serve multiple outlets in a high-risk area, such as a bathroom or kitchen. When choosing GFCI protection for your home, it is important to select products that are listed by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories or ETL Semco. Listed products have been tested to meet safety standards and are more likely to perform properly. It is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions when installing and using GFCI outlets and circuit breakers. Improper installation or use can reduce their effectiveness and increase the risk of electrical shock. Keep in mind that GFCI protection is not a substitute for safe electrical practices. You should always follow basic electrical safety rules, such as avoiding contact with water when working with electricity and never overloading circuits. By following these guidelines, you can help to protect yourself and your family from electrical shock. Furthermore, consider the specific applications within each area. For example, in kitchens, GFCI protection is generally required for all receptacles serving countertop areas, as these are more likely to be used with appliances that could come into contact with water. The exception for receptacles serving appliances that are fixed in place, such as dishwashers and refrigerators, recognizes that these appliances are less likely to pose a shock hazard. However, it is still a good idea to provide GFCI protection for these appliances if possible. In laundry areas, GFCI protection is generally required for all receptacles within 6 feet of a sink or washing machine. This is because these areas are often wet and humid, which increases the risk of electrical shock. In outdoor areas, GFCI protection is generally required for all receptacles that are readily accessible. This includes receptacles on patios, decks, and in gardens. The requirement for GFCI protection in outdoor areas is particularly important because these areas are often exposed to rain, snow, and other moisture. When installing GFCI outlets in outdoor areas, it is important to use weatherproof enclosures to protect the outlets from the elements. These enclosures will help to prevent water from entering the outlets and causing a short circuit or electrical shock. Also consider the long-term maintenance of GFCI outlets. Over time, GFCI outlets can become worn or damaged, which can reduce their effectiveness. It is important to inspect GFCI outlets regularly and replace them if they are damaged or not working properly. You should also test GFCI outlets on a monthly basis to ensure that they are still functioning correctly. To test a GFCI outlet, simply press the test button on the outlet. The outlet should trip and cut off the power to the circuit. If the outlet does not trip, it needs to be replaced. By following these tips, you can help to ensure that your home is protected from electrical shock. Ground fault circuit interrupters are an important safety device that can save lives. Make sure that you have them installed in all of the required locations and that you test them regularly to ensure that they are working properly. Electrical safety is a critical aspect of home ownership and maintenance. Understanding the NEC regulations and local building codes regarding GFCI outlets is essential for protecting yourself and your family from electrical hazards. Remember that the information provided here is for general guidance only. Always consult with a qualified electrician for specific advice on your electrical system. They can assess your individual needs and ensure that your home is up to code and safe. Continuous education on electrical safety practices is also crucial. Stay informed about the latest NEC updates and best practices for electrical safety. This will help you to identify potential hazards and take steps to prevent accidents. In addition to GFCI protection, there are other electrical safety measures that you can take to protect your home. These include using arc fault circuit interrupters, or SIs, to protect against electrical fires, installing surge protectors to protect your electronic devices from power surges, and using tamper-resistant receptacles, or TRRs, to prevent children from inserting objects into outlets. By taking a comprehensive approach to electrical safety, you can create a safe and comfortable home for yourself and your family. Remember that electricity is a powerful force that can be dangerous if not handled properly. Always exercise caution when working with electricity and never attempt to repair or install electrical equipment unless you are qualified to do so. Your safety is the most important thing.